Hi, this is Jim Mann with Homestyle Southern Cooking. It's so nice to be back with you today, and I'm going to bring you one of my favorite cakes. Okay, I call this my chocolate pecan coconut delight, and once you bite into it, you'll see why I say it's a delight. So what I did before I came online, I just bought a box of chocolate cake mix. It could be any name brand, just a chocolate cake mix, and I made it exactly by the directions on the back. So I didn't want to bore you with that, the directions on the back. And depending on what type of cake mix you buy, there might be a little bit different directions. So this is already made and mixed up, so I'm going to push this to the side for just a second. Then I'm going to step back here, and I'm going to get my pan that I'm going to bake it in. And I'm going to take my pan and I'm going to spray it pretty well. It calls for a 9 by 13 pan. This is like a 9 by 13 pan, but it's an oval shape, so that's why I'm using this one. And something like this would be pretty for the holidays too. Okay, I've got a cup of pecans, okay? I'm going to take these pecans and I'm just going to spread them around in the bottom of this plate, of this pan really. Okay, then I've got a cup of coconut. I'm going to spread that around the bottom too. And you'll see when you bite into this, the first bite, well, I guarantee you'll be back for the second. Okay, I'm going to put that in there, okay? Now the next thing I'm going to do is set this aside for a second, go back over and get my cake batter. Make sure I get all the cake off of here. Okay, and let's move this to my sink. Then I'm going to scrape this down on all the sides. And then what I'm going to simply do is just take my cake mix and I'm going to pour it right over top of this. I'll make sure I get all this chocolate out of here, all this delicious goodness out of this bowl. This is such a simple recipe, but it looks so difficult when people see it made. I think, oh my God, you spent hours working on this, and you really don't. Then I want to spread this out over top of my pecans and my coconut. Much as I can. Okay, I got that pretty much covered over top of it now. Okay, now that I've got that done, I'm going to set my bowl out of the way. I'm going to push this to the side once again, and I'm going to bring in my mixer, okay? And here I've got 2 cups of powdered sugar. I'm going to put the 2 cups of powdered sugar in here without trying to create a dust storm here. I've got 1 block of Philadelphia cream cheese. It's softened. That's going to go in there. And I've got 1 stick of butter that's softened. And you can see that's really softened. Okay, then I'm going to turn this on real slow because I don't want my powdered sugar to go flying. Let this blend all together. Oh, this get good and creamy. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop this for a second and scrape this down to make sure that I get all the powdered sugar from the bottom. That's all up, that we have it all No, there's some more down the bottom. That's what I thought. Make sure I get all of it. Okay. Let me stir it a few more minutes. Okay. Now I'm going to take this off and get as much of this off as I can off my tine here. Okay. Now, in another separate bowl, I've got about a half a cup of pecans and a half a cup of chocolate chips in the bowl, okay? I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this in with my mixture, the pecans and the chocolate chip. And then I'm going to stir them around, get them all well mixed up here with my cream cheese and my butter and my powdered sugar. You can see why this cake would be so good. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get me a spoon. Push this back a little bit. Bring this up here. And I'm going to take dollops of this and just put it on the top of my cake. Boy, these pecans and the chocolate chips make this recipe just rock. Make these a little bit larger. Like I said, this is such an incredible taste, and it's so good for the holidays because you just got the chocolate, you got pecans, you've got everything in here that you could possibly think of. Okay, my oven's been set at 350, and eventually I'm going to bake this for about 35-40 minutes. Then you just want to take a knife and just sort of zigzag back and forth through it. So you're sort of mixing them both together. All I'm doing is just going back and forth with my cream cheese and my butter in with the chocolate. Okay, now, it's pretty. I think I'll put some lines this way too. Makes it even prettier. Okay, now I'm going to put this in my oven for like 35 or 40 minutes, and when it's done, I'll be back to you. Our timer just went off, and our chocolate pecan coconut delight cake is ready to come out the oven. So, oh my goodness. Look at that. That is really pretty. And so festive for the holidays. I cannot wait to dig into this, but we're going to have to let this cool for at least a half an hour. Then I'll come back and I'll share this with you. So I'll see you in about a half an hour after the school's down. Okay, welcome back. Our chocolate pecan coconut delight cake is out of the oven and it's cooled down, and it just looks fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece off the edge right here. But before I cut the piece, I'm going to share a story with you. I know you know that I have twin girls and they live in the States. When they were very, very young, we went to the mountains up in Virginia. And if you've never been in the mountains in the fall time in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, you need to put that on your bucket list. Not because I'm from Virginia, but it's one of the most beautiful sights. It's like the Creator took the most beautiful paints and just spread them all over the countryside. They're beautiful. So we were up there looking at leaves, and we passed by this little tiny town in the country, and there was a little antique shop, and we stopped. It was closed, but in the window, they had some dishes in the window. And at the time, my wife and the kids, everybody, they fell in love with the dishes, but they were closed. So I got in the car and drove all the way back up there the next day, Sunday, and we got the dishes. And they've been our Christmas dishes for years, and I'm taking back the girls, and we'll give it to them this year so they can have them. It says on the back, "When drink to the holly berry, with a hay down and a hay dilly doo, the mistletoe will pledge also, a Christmas will be merry." And it has a little picture on the back and a little verse, and these were made in England. But what made these so special is when I walked in the store, I didn't know when I picked these up, I looked in the back, they were made in England, but they're made in New York, but they were stamped with the same year that I was born. So, and my birthday is Christmas Eve, so these have always been very special. So I wanted to share my family heirloom Christmas plates with y'all, and I thought we'll do that with this chocolate cake. So, okay, there we go. Look at that. Can you see the coconut at the bottom and the pecans? And now the most important part. Remember, we have pecans and we have coconut on the bottom. We have the chocolate cake in the middle. And we have the cream cheese butter. And we have pecans and chocolate chip on the top. Deluxe is not a good word. I think I'm going to call it supreme. Wow, if you need to try this, you need to make this for the holidays with all the pecans and the chocolate. I know I tell you so many times things are really good, but this is absolutely to die for. You need to try this one. Thank you so much for having me back into your home again today and following me on Facebook. You know, I posted something on Facebook just the other day. Somebody gave me a gift of some cast iron skillets, and they were so rusty, and I showed people how to clean them, and I don't do that on Facebook. So if you're not following me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook, because I put a lot of helpful hints on there. I really appreciate you subscribing to me, YouTube. You have been my support, and I appreciate each one of y'all. Each one of y'all a family, and I wish I could get around to your house, each and every one of y'all for Christmas, and say Merry Christmas and give you all a big hug, because you certainly have been there for me all year. You take care of yourself. God bless and Merry Christmas.